Hello and welcome. I am Suit and Tie with XPLoot, and this is Daz Studio Basics. Today we're going to go over the very basics of lighting. Before we start, please hit the like button and subscribe, and click that happy little bell button to be notified when new videos are released. There will be a more advanced lighting tutorial later, but this is just to give you an idea of the lighting options inside of Daz Studio. The way I see it, Daz has 6 basic light sources. We have environmental, we have distant light, we have spotlight, we have a point light, a linear point light, and object light emission. So let's get started with environmental. This is what you're seeing now. All of this lighting is coming from the environment options. So there's a few ways we can get to this. We can go to the environment options here, or we can go to our render settings over on the left. Click on the environment tab and take a look here. So this is being created by the dome. There's also an option, you can go into the environment mode and you can take a look at the sun sky only. And this will give you gorgeous results. And this is what I love about Daz Studios, is there's so much. There are these wonderful assets that you can go buy, but even with the built-in right out of the box stuff, the assets inside of Daz Studio, you can make gorgeous renders. Sun Sky is my favorite because it's so simple, it's so basic and so wonderful, and it's gorgeous. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and switch back to our dome and scene. What you're seeing right now is actually assets from Skies of Economy Redux Volume 2. Again, you don't have to purchase assets. I like this one. It just makes it as easy as double clicking and having great results. So I'll go ahead and link this product down below if you want. Take a look. I'm sure they would appreciate that. So next up is distant light. To do this, I'm going to go ahead and change the environment mode so we don't get the dome. So we will not get the environmental lights. To do that, we'll go ahead and change this to scene only. And this will only pull up lights that we have put in. So we'll go ahead and make our distant light here visible. Now, a distant light is just what it sounds like. It is a far away light. It is a light that is very distant. You can use it to replace the sun. Sometimes I will use it as like a moon, but it will fill anything that is not being blocked by an object. So you still get your shadows. If you have like an indoor setting, it will still be blocked, so it won't make it in. So just keep that in mind. A distant light is not something that you want to use for indoor settings. It is best for outdoor. A really cool tool is basically the camera view for the distant light. So I'll go ahead and click on the cameras up here. We'll go down to our distant light, and we can just move it around as we want, and just come up with, if you want it like noon, you can have those results. You could make it sort of sundown, make long shadows. Again, this is only pan and tilt. This is not zoom. You cannot zoom in on the distant light. So let me show you how to create one real quick. I'll go ahead and change back to my utility camera. So to create these lights, it's just up here at the top. If you highlight over them, you can see. So this is the distant light. This is the point light. This is the linear point light. And this is the spotlight. So you'll just click one of these and that creates a new light for you. And you can just change the name here, accept, and then you're able to use it as you want. Now you can have multiple distant lights to get whatever effect that you're looking for. I'll go ahead and delete this, and we'll move back to our utility camera. Okay, so the same kind of goes for a spotlight. I'm going to go ahead and turn on my darkroom, make things a lot darker, and note that you can't see the distant light, and this is what I was talking about. So if you have an indoor settings, you will not be able to use your distant light. So I'm going to make that invisible, and I'm going to turn on my spotlight. Now the spotlight has the same functionality, so you can click into the camera views and go down to your spotlight, and you can zoom and move this around as much as you'd like to get the right effect. Alright, so let's go ahead and move down to lights, and we'll choose our spotlight. So from this point on, instead of using environmental intensity to make things brighter or darker, we're going to use lumens. So we're going to go to lights and then this light tab. And you can see the luminous flux or lumens right here. So one of the problems with when people first start off, I feel like most people are a little bit timid with the lumens. I know I was. When I first started, I was very nervous to go way out. I didn't think that you would need this many zeros in your lumens. However, so I would have like the default here, we'll just reset that. I would be wondering, well, why can't I see anything? Where's all the lighting in my render? You know, and I would try to move it up by 5 or by 10, or I would take this slider and just go like as far as I could, and I would still get nothing. I was so afraid. So my best tip is to just put a bunch of zeros in and see where you land. If it's too bright, whoa, that's way too bright. You just go back in. Oops, I went too far. And take out a few zeros or add a few in. See, that's too dim. We'll add more in. Now we're getting somewhere. So keep that in mind. You can go way over just to make sure that you can see that light, and then bring it back down and find that happy medium for you. Okay, so this is your spotlight. Again, this is a very pointed light, so this isn't used to fill a room or anything. You don't want to use this to fill a room. You want to use this to just point out one feature, or if you have like a stage situation. So we're going to move on to the point lights and the linear point lights. These are a little bit more filling lights. I'll go ahead and go back to my utility camera, and you can see the light here. So a point light is just that. You'll find a lot of like, if you need just like candles or other lights, just general lights that will fill a room. So of course you can always come back down here and change the lumens if you want it a little bit brighter. And this is a really cool light. You can't go into camera mode with it. It's not there. However, you can move it around like an object to get whatever effect that you would like. Now there is very subtle differences between the point light and the linear point light. So I'll go ahead and enable that. The linear point light and the point light, the difference is it comes down to the light fall off at a distance. So if you're not adept at seeing it, you're probably not going to notice any difference at all. It's not going to be a big difference for you. So I typically just use the point light. I've never seen any difference. And we can go over the subtle differences and how that calculates in the advanced tutorial later. So for now, I would just pick one. Point light, linear point light, it's up to you. All right. So far, what you've seen, all of these lights do not show up in the reflective surface behind my character. None of them have showed. You can't see the source of this light. You can see it here, but it's only a representation of that light. When you render it, it wouldn't show up there. So the last light that we're going to go over is actually object light emission. So this is a little bit different. You're not going to find it up here. This is just any item, anything that has a surface that you could go to, you can make it glow. So what I've done is I've created a torus. I'll make these disappear. I've created just a basic torus by clicking new primitive and then torus and then accept. From there, what you'll do is you'll go down to surfaces and default and change that emission color to anything except black. And that will turn on emissions for you. So, and that means anything other than black. So if you have 1 on red, it'll still give you the emissions. But if it is completely 0, 0, 0, those options disappear. So let's go ahead and turn this back up to white. And what I was saying is now you can see this item in the reflection of this surface. Any reflective surface, you will be able to see this item, this object that is giving off light. You will also be able to see the light in the reflection that is given off. So that light will bounce off of the reflection and come back towards you. So just keep that in mind. You will be able to see it. So you'll see a lot of these in like candles, instead of actually putting like a point light on the candle and attaching it and having it give off light that way. What they'll do is just take that surface and give it an emission, which is very, very cool. So we can change the color as you want. We can make it light blue or green, sorry. We can change it to blue. We can make it red, whatever you'd like. There's another way to do this as well. So let's go ahead and change this back to white. So you can also use the emission temperature. And this is for all of the lights that we've gone over so far. You can change it basically cool or warm lighting. So we move it up, it gets a little bit cooler. We move it down, it gets a little bit warmer lighting. And that pretty much wraps up the basics of lighting. To finish this thing off, I'll go ahead and make her eyes glow because I think it's funny. So we'll go to... There we go. We'll go to surfaces. We'll go to irises. Emission color is going to go bright blue. All right, luminance. We're just going to put a bunch of zeros. See how it goes. Ta-da! Oh, too many zeros. So you can get these really cool effects when it comes to, so you have like a demon, you can change their eyes red, or let's go ahead and switch this to NVIDIA so you can see it as well up close. Anyways, the options are completely limitless. There's really quite awesome features when it comes to lights. So it can be as basic or as complex as you need it. Have 1, 2, 3 lights, or fill a room with spotlights if you want. It's completely up to you. And it's such a cool little system. So that wraps it up here. That was the basic of lights. Go ahead and like and subscribe if you haven't already, and happy rendering.